Welcome back to the channel. This is Shadow Alley and we talk about horror movies and lots of other creepy stuff, so if you like that sort of thing, then feel free to stick around. I had an idea that I thought might be fun. And by fun, I mean that it might start fights in the comments section and help the channel grow, which is what a true YouTube sellout like myself wants, so we're gonna give the idea a try. Some of the more comment-heavy videos on my channel revolve around the debate of practical effects versus CGI. And it's a topic that I think I've already discussed enough for the viewers of this channel to understand my position on the matter. If you haven't seen one of my videos on the subject, in a nutshell, I love them both, but I prefer my monsters be played by actors in rubber suits rather than digitally created. So I thought it might be entertaining to poke fun at some of the digital monsters that pretty much ruined my enjoyment of what could have been an enjoyable movie. And maybe even compare those monsters and that movie to some old school 80s movies that have similar plots and monsters to see which one did it better. This is Bad CGI versus 80s movies, episode 1. First up on my list is Van Helsing from 2004, starring Wolverine and Selene from the Underworld series. It's a modern-day mashup of the classic Universal movie monsters. Gabriel Van Helsing is a monster hunter that is sent to Transylvania to stop Count Dracula himself from using Dr. Frankenstein's research
to take over the world.
All the classic players are here, which should make for an amazing movie, right? Yeah, not so much. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't hate this movie, and I've watched it a few times, but it could have been a lot better, for me personally, if the monsters were done practically rather than these cartoonish video game characters that look almost laughable. It's a shame too, because I like the source material. I like the updating of old characters and plot elements. I like all the people involved. I just hate the amount of CGI in the movie, which I would probably have an issue with even if it was well done, but
it's definitely not.
Not only is there too much CGI, the CGI itself is worse than some video game footage I've seen on YouTube. Let's take a look at some of these effects that made it really difficult for me to suspend my disbelief and enjoy the movie. Now, if you look at that montage and think, what's wrong with that?
I think it's fine. I love that movie and those monsters.
Well, that's okay. This isn't an objective debate. This is subjective. I happen to prefer vanilla over chocolate. It's just an opinion, and it may differ from yours. But for me, and in my opinion, this just about ruins the movie for me. It also, unfortunately, doesn't do much else right, which might have helped it. The movie has a pretty loose plot, somewhat wooden acting combined with occasional overacting, and the accents. Oh, the accents.
I am Count Vladislaus Dracula.
I know Dracula's secret.
Okay, well, I think it's pretty obvious that I dislike the CGI in this movie, but now let's have some fun and talk about the second half of this episode, where we compare the effects to an 80s counterpart. Is there an 80s movie that did something similar, but didn't rely on digital effects? And was that movie, in your opinion, better or worse? I know these comparisons might not be fair, but who cares? It's my show, and I want to shit on some movies and talk about 80s movies that I like. So which 80s movie am I picking to battle head-to-head with Van Helsing? I choose 1987's The Monster Squad. Both movies attempt to create a unique story using classic Universal movie monsters, but one main difference is the simple prosthetics and makeup used in 1987 compared to the heavy use of CGI in 2004. Now there's obviously lots of differences, but we're focusing on the effects here and whether or not those help the movie or hurt it. So let's take a look at a couple of the creature effects in The Monster Squad. Well, you all know my vote. And to be fair, there are some effects that haven't aged very well. Ooh. But they're extremely few and far between. When your entire movie is built around digital assets, you better make sure those assets are perfect. If your movie is built on story, character, and childlike entertainment, then a few aged effects buried in a sea of competent ones don't take away from the overall enjoyment. So what do you think? Is Van Helsing a good example of bad CGI in movies? And would you love to see what this movie might have been with more of an emphasis on practical effects? I sure would, but wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster. That's probably not a good way to end the video, so let's end it with Fat Kid kicking Wolfman in the nards.
Do it! Do it! Wolfman's got
God, Nard!